From the top shelf of the Adventurers Night Club, we bring you Beverage et Toi. If your desk or coffee table is always occupied by the three most desirable beverages, one for energy, one for hydration, and one just for fun, then you're just the kind of three-drink fiend Buka made this coaster for.
Thanks, Buka.
It lusciously rotates so you can salaciously see which drink is on which coaster for easy access to the beverage you desire. Drop in to Second Wind's DFTBA store
And treat yourself.
It comes in a 4-pack so you can share one. Because we know you've got a friend you want to share more than a coaster with.
Ooh, right about now. Look at that. Hey everybody, welcome to RPG Help Desk, where we answer questions about RPGs if you have them. If not, we're just going to go off on whatever tangent we want to, because that's today's goal. And with me, today's goal is the Astral Marmot herself. Hello, Jessa.
Hello. Glad to be here. As always, I love hanging out with you.
I also really enjoy hanging out with you. You've been on the stream like once before, but like we've chatted online for a long time and talked lots of RPG stuff online, which is why I was like, "Oh, do you want to be on this?" Like the first time I asked, I was like, "We have lots of opinions and thoughts, and I enjoy your opinions and thoughts."
I appreciate that. I have many of them.
You're a person like I'm sad I haven't been able to like play a game with you, but everything I've heard about how you think about it and what we've discussed makes me think that you would be very good at it and I would have a great time.
We need to get into a game together soon. That is something that we should make happen.
We should. Yeah. 10 out of 10, no notes, we should. So if anybody has questions, chat, you are welcome to pop them in and we'll answer them. I wanted to start off with something that someone asked last week, and this was about them as a player, but I feel like this is extremely useful as for DMs as well, which they were saying, how do I keep track of all of my abilities as like I think they were playing like a rogue in their latest one. They're like, well, I have sneak, and then I have like these disengages, and I have all these abilities, and I have magic items, and like how to actually remember what you have. And so I'm curious about that, but also from the DM perspective, I know I write down stuff for, oh, here's an encounter for my players, and I will have stuff that I never get to because I forget to look at that part of the page. Or like, oh, shoot, yeah, at half attack, he was supposed to do this, and never did it. How do you organize that, and how do you like keep track of things to where you have a bunch of stuff that you want to use and can actually use it?
So that's tricky. It really depends if you are running a game online or running it in person. And it sounds like your friend, this person was playing D&D. It sounded like
Yeah,
they're playing
were.
Rogue. They got like stealth attack and all that. Okay, yeah. When I'm organizing online, I use Miro.com, which is an online whiteboard. I don't know that it's the best one out there. There's probably a million others out there that are equally as good. It just happens to be the one that I use. And I've found that whenever I have, like, take, for example, a monster that has an ability at half bloodied, right? Or at bloodied, right? I will... like usually copy print the stat block, but any ability that I want to specially remember, I will write out on a sticky note. So that way I like just the act of writing it out helps me to remember it. And having it on a sticky note in particular, so that it's like right front and center on like my screen, so that it's like, okay, yeah, that is a thing that needs to happen at 50%. Like I absolutely need to do that. As a player, I really like to make cards for myself. I don't get to be a player too often, but I love making cards for myself that have not just spells on them, but also abilities. I think that having your abilities on cards is also equally useful.
Yeah, that was the thing we talked about, was one of the suggestions was having cards and just, you know, like breaking them down on little index cards and like being able to go through and like even like trying to give like word or symbol organization of like, this is useful for combat, mobility, social, like, and so you could kind of, without reading the whole thing. So I'm glad that cards continue to be a good source of how to actually do that. The post.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I just find that writing things down really makes a huge difference,
Mhm.
and especially and writing it makes a ton of difference if you're able to. But given how much stuff is done online these days, like using something like a Miro, like a whiteboard app that has sticky notes on it, like as long as you're writing it in some fashion, it's going to help it stick in your brain.
Yeah, I think the like change of it's something different would help too. Because when I write it, I usually have, for whatever reason, when I do RPG stuff, it's easier for me to do it in physical form than like having
Hmm.
everything on a screen. Even when I'm playing online games, I have like a notebook of stuff that I'm writing down and use
Hmm.
that. And yeah, but everything is written in the same font, my handwriting, in the same
Hmm.
everything because it's just a pen across the whole thing. So having an actual change of like, here's a yellow note on it that, that
Yep,
like my eyes will go to as opposed to just glazing over the rest of it because it's just a bunch of words. That's a really good idea.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, sticky notes, those little note sticky things that you can put into notebooks are really, really useful as well. Yeah, recommend all of it.
I like that it's sticky notes and note sticky things, but I know what you're talking about, and it's not the
You know what
same
I'm
as
talking
a
about,
sticky
right?
note.
They're
Yeah,
not sticky notes. They are the note sticky things that are
the note sticky
like little
things.
bookmark guys or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like they're narrow and short, and you're supposed to like put them on a
Yes.
page to like show
Yes.
like essentially a external dog ear kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, hey Marathi, yeah, the bookmark guys. Yeah, the little bookmark guys. That's exactly
Little
what they are.
bookmark guys. It's totally what they're called. It's the technical term for them.
Um, is there life on Earth? I hope so. Did have a question, which I feel like is pretty good, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this because this is like kind of a mix of social and also like gameplay. Is what's the they asked what's the easiest way to keep people showing up for your tabletop RPG? I've had several campaigns die before completion because people started to bail.
That is rough. I have been there.
Yeah.
Especially early on when you're first trying to get people into it, or if you have people who are like just not heavy gamers,
Mm-hmm.
who are treat it much more of a casual thing to do. Um, I think that there's a lot of different answers to this question.
I agree.
The first overarching thing that you should do is make sure that you're running the kind of game that the people who you have invited to play want to play, right? Like that sounds really obvious, but it's surprisingly often overlooked, right? Like you get a great idea for a game, you invite a bunch of people to it, but you never ask them like, "Hey, is this the type of game that you want? Do you want dungeoneering? Do you want exploration? Do you want social engagement? Do you want politics?" Right? Having those conversations up front means that you know what people are looking for in the game and
Mm-hmm.
that you have things ready to provide. So that just helps it like overall upfront should be like part of your initial campaign planning should be a conversation with all of your players about like, hey, what do you want out of a game? Like what type of thing are you really looking forward to the most? And so some of them are going to be like combat, and some of them are going to be like talking to people, and some of them are going to be like getting loot, and it's going to differ from person to person, right?
Yeah.
But knowing what those needs are up front and then allows you to meet them later down the road.
Totally. And that's really good to do beforehand. If you didn't do that beforehand, now's a great time to start asking.
It's never too late.
Yeah,
It's never too late to start asking.
uh, yeah, do that. And when people leave, just ask like, "Oh, what happened?" Like, "Oh, is there anything I can do?" Or like, "Oh, did something change?" Like, just finding out why. Because sometimes things happen, schedules change, and you just
Hmm.
have
It
to
might have
drop.
nothing to do with you.
Yeah, but but they might be like, "Well, I really wanted, more RP related role playing, and it's mostly combat, and I feel like I'm, not enjoying it." Or
Hmm.
and they might be straightforward, but they might not be fully
Be
open.
because, yep, that is an issue. That is definitely an issue. It's hard to get people to give good, honest feedback, especially when they can tell you've put a lot of effort into the thing and they don't want to disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're inclined to say, oh, well, it's fine. So really finding a way to get that honest and open feedback. I think a session 0.5, if you didn't do this up front, having a session 0.5 during the midst of your campaign where you just take a second to stop and be like, all right, it doesn't have to be a whole 4 hours, but you could just be like, all right, let's just take an hour and a half to go over all of the things that we would have gone over during a session 0, but we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Can be useful as well. As an in-game thing, that I think is fun to get people to coming back. I really like to end my sessions on cliffhangers, if at all possible. I think that it's a way to keep people excited about whatever is happening next, and a strong ending is something that will stick in people's minds, and make them coming back for more. So I give that as like a tangential piece of advice, because like it's not, having a great cliffhanger ending is not enough to deal with the beast that is scheduling for other people. Like that's not like a magic cure-all that's going to make everything better. But it is a great way to keep people excited about your campaign.
I totally agree. Cliffhangers can be really fun. And yeah, scheduling is its own thing, but this is a mix of like in-game stuff and out-of-game stuff. So like very helpful to have both. Marathi asking, do you have a way to ask these questions for new players? I think maybe just trying to offer guidance rather than just saying, why'd you quit? And then just sit there in silence waiting for them to give you a full answer. Be like, hey, how were you feeling about the game? Did you feel like you were engaged enough? We were doing the things that you wanted to do in game? Like just kind of give them a few questions that they can answer directly rather than having to just tell you all of their feelings unfiltered that, maybe they're not sure that you want to hear that they were a little bored. But if you ask it, they might be more comfortable being like, well, I wish I, had a bit more to do, which is a great code for, yeah.
Completely agree. And if you're talking about like asking the questions up front of like, what are you interested in? What kind of things are you, are going to engage you in this campaign? I love doing Google surveys. Like I absolutely love Google surveys and sending them out to players in advance. I think that it is the easiest way to get this kind of information up front and just have an easy like spreadsheet that I can look at that tells me, okay, this person does not like puzzles. Do not put puzzles in front of them.
Yeah.
That like having that information up front before I start a campaign is huge. And I like to do it as a survey. I find that people find it easier to fill out surveys than they do to necessarily articulate things out loud. For example, that's why I do for consent and boundaries for check. I have a checklist that I send out that allows people to go over and let me know what their boundaries are in advance of the campaign starting, so that I know all of that stuff. And I'm like, okay, don't put puzzles or spiders in front of this person.
Valid. Oh, Marathi clarifying, saying, actually, I meant this more as part of the session 5.0, finding out what do you want out of this. Yeah, how would you frame that differently in a session 5.0 versus like an actual session 0 of like, we're already in the midst of this and we might need a little like re-steering?
I would go through I would basically go through the same questions that I would go through during session 0, but the difference is I would use examples from the campaign. So I would say things
smart.
like, so I noticed that when we were in the cave with Bragnar the Destroyer, you didn't really have a lot to add to that. Like, were you not feeling that engagement, or was there just something else going on? That allows me to really dial in specifically on, areas where I feel like, okay, was that person just bored, or did they just not have anything to add to the scene and they just wanted somebody else to take the spotlight, which is, totally fine. But yeah, being able to use examples from the campaign itself, I think is very helpful in a session like 0.5, where you're just like, okay, like we are doing a reset here to examine what is at the core, what are the foundational core like pillars of our campaign, and what is it that we most want to get out of this. And I think asking people that question, what do you most want out of this experience?
Huge.
Like is big, right? Like and people might struggle to articulate it, but they'll give you something, right? They'll give you something that'll tell you, you know, oh, okay, they really will love the social engagement. Like, I need to make sure I dial that up for them. You know, whatever it is that they're really into.
Totally agree. And that's really smart to use the campaign itself as the guidelines. That I honestly hadn't really thought about that. I was spinning in my head of like, all right, how would I reframe the house? Like, you're playing a game. Use that. You
Use the game itself.
Yeah, you all have a shared experience to draw from. That's very smart. And Incarnadine, thanks for gifting me a sub. Appreciate it. Another thing that I would say is like, this is a pretty easy one. Bribe people. Like, have snacks and drinks. It's a real good one. Because sometimes that is not only just a nice thing to have, but like can help. Like, there are games where it's like, oh, I'm going to show up late, and if I do that enough because I have to eat, like I have something up until this point, and then I need to eat, and I need to be there at this time, but all three of these things can't coexist, so something's got to get pushed, and if I don't eat, I get upset, so I've got to eat. So like having things like, oh, okay, we've got snacks, we'll have a dinner, have like pasta, something, whatever. Like, bribe them a bit. It's cool.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. As much as I subscribe to the theory that people should be bribing their DM as opposed to the other way around, I do think that there's like something valid to like we're playing on average around 4-hour games. That is a long time to be playing, and needing like brain food in the middle of that is reasonable. So having food available, I think, is just an absolute necessity. Like, you have to. I've learned that I have to have it around when I'm DMing. I have to have it around when I'm playing. Like, a little bit of popcorn goes a long way.
Yeah, totally. And I also feel like a thing that I've mentioned before is over schedule the amount of people. If you want 6 players, then try to get 8 to commit, because someone's going to drop. Rarely have, and I say that as a warning. Sometimes nobody drops, and then you have a lot of people, and it's like, uh-oh, whoops. But a lot of times people drop, and I've found it better to kind of aim for the higher end of what I'm willing to DM rather than try to shoot for the middle or the lowest. And then
Agreed.
As schedules have conflicts, which they will, you still have that prime number of players that you'd like. And they had a follow-up question of how late in a given TTRPG is too late to add new people. Should I avoid adding anyone after starting or second or third session? I have very strong opinions on this, but if you also have opinions, I don't want to shape yours.
I mean, I honestly don't see any reason like why you can't. Like, there are times when I have had to add people into a campaign very late in a campaign. Like, somebody dropped, I needed to add somebody in. Like, it just happens. And so I don't think like there's any, like, it can be difficult to get somebody acclimated to a new campaign that's already been ongoing. And you need to try and get them not only up to speed on like what the campaign is doing, but also on like the social dynamics of the party itself. It's a lot of work, but I don't see any reason why it becomes more work the further into the campaign it gets. And so you should be aware of that, but I don't think that there's any issue with adding somebody later in, like, as long as you're able to get them up to speed on the campaign and get them up to speed on the dynamics of the social group.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel. I feel like if it's the game,
okay, good.
the game before the last one, but you have a friend that wants to play and you want them to play, figure out a way to get them in. Like,
Bring them in.
yeah, I feel that way about including with intermittent people, where it's like, well, I'm only available, possibly once every 2 weeks. Like, oh, well, I might
Mhm.
have to do every other game, or maybe I'll have to skip a few. Or it's like, cool, we'll bake something in for where you go. Like, that is
Mhm.
part of your backstory, your character. Part of how we're getting you in here is your excuses. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's really useful for all characters and players. Of, if you are not here, this is what you're doing. Um, or having a dedicated person you trust. Of, when my character is not here, this player may control them. I trust them
Mhm.
to not just freaking be like, nah, I'll save the group, everybody, and jump through a portal.
Yeah, I knew somebody who had a D&D game where everybody at the very beginning got bitten by blink dogs. So if basically whenever somebody was gone, they just blinked out into the ethereal plane, which I thought was very clever.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, I love that as well.
That's really smart. Oh, I have where to go. Meredith D bringing up a counterpoint to mine of overcommitting the number of people. Saying my experience with overcommitting is that everyone shows up for the first session, gets overwhelmed, and then drops. And that's fair. If you show up to a session with 10 people, then maybe you're like, wow, that was too many for me, and I need to drop. And now you have artificial droppage of people that would have actually stayed. So, all right, maybe your plan is, rather than getting them all in at once, purposefully stagger people coming in. So, like, you have your first 4 that day one, and that's like, hey, oh, I got a few friends that aren't going to be able to make it today, so like we're going to add them in when they can come. And like everybody's like, okay, sure.
Mhm.
Like everybody understands. And then next week another person comes, and then the next week another person gets added, and then maybe someone drops, maybe not. Uh, and you can kind of bring them in stages so that it's not overwhelming.
Mhm.
And if you
See,
can coordinate it with like the social dynamics of who might be comfortable with each other and doing it that way, that would be also helpful. But that's even more scheduling. What were you gonna say?
oh, I was just going to say that you are a much more skilled DM than I am in the sense that you are able to run much higher numbers of people than I am. I
Yeah.
I am extremely cautious. Like I like to have parties of no more than 5. That's about my top limit
Oh.
of how many people I can manage. And so I would invite a maximum of 5 people to a thing, and then be okay with someone dropping off. Like should that happen? But yeah, I think your idea of staggering it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I also could totally understand why you wouldn't want to run more than 5. Like 5's a lot to handle. I really enjoy being when I can get a group where I can be very hands-offy, and
Hmm.
like I'm they're throwing stuff at each other and they're throwing stuff at me, and I could just throw something back and they could just kind of bounce it around. Like,
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, cool. Love it. Doesn't always work out. And I feel like that's generally easier with a lot of players because they have multiple people to bounce ideas off of, and like can be kind of segmented in like, oh well, we're gonna do this thing. Oh well, while that's happening, we're gonna do this, and how it can all kind of fit together as a
Hmm.
weird living puzzle of how I need to make all that work.
Yeah. Well, I think it helps too if you're running with experienced players. I tend to run a
Very
lot of
true.
games for inexperienced players, and so I try to keep things very low key for them, so that not in the game. The game itself is very high key, but like the actual like setup and things, like I try to keep that very small, and also not to like a lot of what I'm doing is training new players as well, like how do you be a good player, and so getting them to that point where they can just bounce things off each other without me is the goal.
It's such a good feeling when they can do that. Like if
I
you,
love it so much. I love it so much.
there's the like very much like, oh haha, I don't have to do anything like meme of it, but it also is just as like someone running a game, like showing how invested the players are, that like
Hmm.
they're doing all this stuff unprompted because they want to, because they understand the world enough and their characters enough that like this is
Yes.
what they would do, and that they are excited
Yes.
that they get to try it.
Yes. I adore that. It's such a good feeling. It's
Really
such a
is.
good feeling. I remember I introduced a new player, actually. This was maybe a year into an ongoing campaign, and they had been running a separate campaign. And so I finally got to merge the two tables together. And at that first meeting, they spent the entire session in a cafe just talking to each other about all of the things that had happened to each other and putting the pieces together. I did nothing. I did nothing for the entire and it was one of the most amazing things because I got to sit and listen to like a seed that I had planted 2 years ago or like a year ago or something suddenly beginning to sprout because they finally made the connection to this other person who had the other half of the puzzle. And it was one of the best sessions I've ever had, and I didn't do a damn thing. I didn't do a damn thing the entire session.
It's so good. That makes me excited to hear another DM that has those moments. Like, yes,
Mhm.
so great. Anything else you want to add to that, or wrap it up? Okay.
No, I'm good.
Is there life on Earth? Let us know if that answers your question. If not, we'll try again. And if so, yay. So Talk Walk Talk had a question of how do you guys handle character levels for new players? Do they all start at 1, 2, or below group average, or something else? So I think, all right, so I think there's two separate ways. One is like new characters of like you're starting a game of like where's everybody starting at? And then also if you're bringing people into a game, where do you want new people to start at? And
Yeah,
ahead.
when I'm bringing new people into the game, I have them start at the same level that everyone else is starting at. Like it keeps everything super simple for me.
Yeah.
The only time I might make an exception to that would be if it's like a brand new player who has never played before and everybody else is at level 7 and they are just not, dropping a level 7 character on them would be too much. And so
Yeah.
what I will do is I will start them out at like level 3 or something and then just level them quickly as they acquire the ability to manage their own character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, just start them out at the same level, make everything super easy. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I feel the same way of like that's very smart of if you are new to RPGs. New as in new to playing them, not necessarily new to the group, because it's two different ways. But like, yeah, if you're new to RPGs and they are higher level, it is helpful. And like maybe they have a little bit of plot armor, a nice ring that has a set amount of damage it can take before it breaks to help keep them alive. Like just give them a little bit of something to help them, because yeah, like a level 3 versus level 7 is they will get crushed without some aid. So having something in place, you can also tie it into, if the players are into it, tie that into the narrative and into the characters' motivations of like, you have this person that is clearly not as powerful as you, and you have to work to keep them from just dying. But that's also do the players want that responsibility? Because not everybody wants that dynamic.
Right. And you know your table best, so you'll know if they'll enjoy that kind of thing or not.
Yeah, I also the power imbalance I think can be fun for handling like, different power levels for a group. I think it's really cool and like fun to have, if you look at like a Lord of the Rings example party of like Gandalf is a much higher level than Sam. They're in the same party together and it works. But like the expectation of what those two people are going to be doing in a fight or in exploration or in interactions is very different. And that there
Right.
is
No one's asking Sam to go up against the Balrog.
right. He's like, I got this. And he slams his cast iron pot on the bridge.
Pot down the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, like having that, and that's again, but a very much a conversation to have with players. Is that something that they want? I think it would be very fun to either be the lower level person in a party, or to have someone that's lower level to like and be aware of our responsibility is helping them. Other people don't feel that way, where they're like, I feel like I'm getting ripped off because everybody is more powerful than me, and I want to min max to be as good as everybody else. They're doing 40 damage in combat, and I'm doing 6. That feels bad. That's a valid point. Like that.
Yep.
That you don't want to do that. So
Yep, I tend to be like that. Like, I
Yeah.
tend to be along the lines of like, yeah, no, I want to be maximum power level, depending on the game that I'm playing, you know. But I might find it like difficult to be underpowered if everybody else was overpowered. I might also find it difficult to be overpowered if everyone else was underpowered. I think I would probably carry a little bit of guilt about that. The way that I am. But yeah, for the most part, I would just say keep everybody at the same level if you can, in terms of just introducing new character or introducing, a new character. And if it's a brand new player, if they're still learning the ropes, like go ahead and introduce them at a lower level, but maybe level them up quickly, depending on, how quickly they, pick up their character sheet. And then, maybe make it a fun quest for the rest of the party, if that's something the rest of the party is into.
Totally. I think the fast leveling is a really good idea for getting someone on board, and even like an experienced person in a new game. So like if someone was like, "Hey, here's a GURPS campaign that you can join. We're all level." I don't know what a high level is in GURPS. Like I've played a lot of RPGs. I haven't played any GURPS. I would appreciate starting at a lower level and getting a level at the end of every session to see, okay, here's what I did. Here's what I can now do. Cool. Next time, let me keep that. All right, cool. I did that. I understand it. All right, here's what I could do now. And building up to that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else you want to add to that? Or should we?
No, I feel like that's my only thoughts on that.
All right, cool. Well, then there you go. Talk. If that answered your question, let us know. If not, we'll try again. But yeah, I think generally everybody being the same level, I feel like not being the same level like is kind of a penalty for whatever reasons. And it's also a matter of like what system you're using. That's a huge difference in something like Pathfinder or D&D, where one level makes a huge difference. Where I'm playing Cypher system for the superhero games that I'm playing right now, and like you get XP just for showing up, and you get XP like individual XPs for doing things, and so everybody's XP, even people that have played about the same amount of games, is a little bit different from each other. And when you don't show up, you don't get a set amount of XP, but the way the system works, you're still baseline good. Like, I don't feel like I am functionally useless against all the other people, even if they have more powers than I do. And because the system's built that way to have more wiggle room in that.
That's smart.
I mean, I'm really liking Cypher system. It is cool. I've played Numenera before, and it's neat. Playing it with superheroes is pretty fun, too.
Yeah. I have not played it. I have to give it a try.
It's interesting. There's like weird little things where I'm like, some wording that's too close to one another. I'm like, wait, this is power shift, not power thing, the other power one. Like, there's a few things like that that get me. And that you roll a d20, but everything's in increments of 3s. So like, yeah. So like you have like a 1 through 6 challenge rating. Well, actually, it goes up to like 10, I think, because you can get above what you can roll because of additional stuff for your skills and whatnot. But like, so like a 1 to 3 is technically a 1, but then the 4, and it's like I always roll it, and I'm like, oh no, the math time. It's not that hard of math, but like remembering what number the 16 is just trips me up a little bit.
That's fun.
And Mary, our Talk with 100 bits. Thank you. Says, thank you very much. Awesome. Glad we could answer that.
Very glad we could help.
Oh man, and we got several more questions. TS Toss Agent 2. It says, what is each of your favorite systems to run? What do you see as the pros and cons of that system? Thanks. What is your favorite system to run? Is it D&D?
The one I run the most is D&D. I end up like that's just where I end up introducing a lot of the most new players because that's where people want to start, and so that's usually where I end up starting people. So where I end up running people the most. I really love the system Ironsworn.
Okay.
I really enjoy it, and I would run it a lot more if I was given the opportunity to. I think it's one of the better systems that I've come across. It cannot believe it is free. Like the fact that it's a free system is just it blows my mind because it is just so elegantly made. I think one of the things that is best about it is the what they call the Oracle, which is just a series of roll tables that they have at the end. Because you can run Ironsworn as a solo game, as a co-GM game, or with a GM and with players. And so you can help to generate locations and NPCs and settings and plot lines using the system that they have in the back. And it's just really, really elegantly done. I just have a tremendous amount of respect for what they put into the work. So if I had to pitch a system on here, it would be Ironsworn.
I've heard both you and other people talk about Ironsworn. I have not played it. So if you're the one that DMs the game we play together, then we can play Ironsworn.
Oh, hell yeah.
If I'm the one that's DMing it, it's going to be Fate. That is currently my favorite system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love the narrative control that it gives players and DMs on how they can like one of the things of it is you have like your skills and what you're good at. You have your the other thing that has a name that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, and then you have stunts, which is literally a thing of this is how you can bend or break a rule. And it's like specific to your character. It has to have aspects. Thank you. Where you're like, oh, I have an ability called backstab, which is when they don't know I'm there, I can use stealth instead of fight to stab somebody for an attack roll. And it's like cool things like that. Or this is direct spoiler to something happening later, but like, oh, I have a centaur character that's like, oh, I have an ability that I can, as long as I'm in a straight shot of someone, I can essentially make a ranged attack on them. But it counts as like I just charge in. So it's a melee attack, but it can count as a ranged. Because it's me just charging in. Like, oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you treat that differently. I love that element of it. And then having the troubles for characters where you have to have something that isn't helpful to you, and then several aspects that are helpful, but the DM can always play with like, oh, you're very morally strong is one of your good aspects, but like I'm gonna put you in a situation where that's a complication, and you can like give and take fate points from each other, playing with that and changing the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I love that so much.
That's incredibly cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love it. If I run the game that we play, it'll be Fate.
I am in.
Okay, cool. That said, I also played Cairn, and it was delightful, and I want to play more of it. Incredibly simple system, very fun, good on the horror aspect because you can die very easily, and it's super randomized, but in a way that feels good.
Interesting.
That as a is a really good example of games that work with different party levels. Because like in the sci-fi Cairn game I was playing, one of us, I think like 4 HP, and another person had like 6 HP, and the third person had like 14. And like, which a gun can easily like rolls like a couple of D6 or something. So it's like, oh, well, I could just die easily, like at any point. But like, it changed how you interacted with the world, and the system is built to like not just be, oh, well, combat is always the answer and all of your abilities are combat related as like a D&D or Pathfinder, where it's very much focused on that, where it's like, no, outsmarting is a great option, and here's all the ways you can do it. breaking it down to a very simple system of like, basically, here's a challenge. How do you overcome it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you use what you have to your advantage.
That sounds incredibly cool.
It's really good. Karen is really good. Mothership also really good, but the answer's Fate. My favorite.
I'm actually going to be running Mothership games at Gen Con this year. So
Really?
anybody who's going to be at Gen Con, you want to sign up for a Mothership game, I might be running one for you.
Well, now I have an excuse if I need to go to Gen Con. That I can be like,
I mean,
well, I have
did you
to
need
go.
one? You can have one.
The thing with Gen Con is it's so big that I feel like unless I'm working, like I'm there for like a business reason, I'm not sure I could enjoy it.
That's actually been my reason for not going for years. It's been like it's big enough that I need to have something to do while I'm there. So I've got something to do while I'm there now. So yeah.
Awesome. Well then, if I go, I will absolutely sign up for one of yours. 'Cause also, I love Mothership.
Wonderful.
It's
Mothership is a great game.
Such a good system.
It is a great game. Yep. It is a really good system.
Highly recommend. All right. If that answers your question, let us know. If not, tell us and we'll try again. Pika has a question. I'm curious about this because it's specifically about making your own RPG system, which I feel like when bending and breaking rules is also kind of delving into that area, just a little less extreme. But they asked, when making your own RPG system, what do you think is more important? The time turns take, giving a lot of options to players, or some third thing?
Well, it's interesting that you set those up, like, because I don't necessarily think that those are in opposition to each other, depending on how the system is built. And, Mothership, since we were just talking about it, doesn't have an initiative system at all. Like, you just figure it out as you go, which is actually maybe my only complaint about Mothership. I really wish that there was some kind of like system, but it's proof that it's not necessary, right? Like, it's proof that you don't have to think about things like the timing of individual turns depending on your game. And so it sounds like if you're building this system, you want this to be, if these are the questions you're asking, it sounds like you're building a combat focused system. And I would say to that, like, you have to answer that question for yourself, like within your system. Like, do you want your players to have a lot of options in combat? Do you want timing to feel restricted in combat? Do you want it to feel like it's do you want it to feel in the way that it does in D&D, like it's a separate system that takes over, like when, once the regular system is done running? I don't necessarily think those things are in opposition to each other, is what I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think kind of how you can answer what's important to your system is just saying, all right, how to answer these? What's important to your system? And then mechanically, how do you show that to players? How do they engage with it to show that importance? If you are running a horror system and you're like, okay, I want to have, I want the stress of you have to make decisions in a set amount of time. I want physical timers for your initiative. You have 10 seconds and you've got to put your dice in the attack or the run or the pool or wherever. And like, that's your commitment of that. And then when it, continues, we'll roll it. So like, that's your theme. That's how you do it. Sure. You could have 1,000 options in there if tons of options are what you want, but you want that, okay, but you have to make a decision right now. Like, figure out what's important, how to emphasize it mechanically. I feel like that's a way to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say that if you want your combat system to run really tightly, really smoothly, and really quickly, I would opt for not having 1,000 options for players. Like, give them something simple that they can that they can run with quickly and make quick decisions on, if quick decisions are important for you and for your system, if that's the style of game that you are trying to build. If it's not, give your players more options. Let them have like plenty of time. Let them take their time. Let them do the thing the way that they want to do it. But yeah, it comes down to like what is important to you for your game. Like when you're envisioning the perfect gameplay, you know, everybody's sitting down at the table, everybody's playing this game that you have built, right? And you're envisioning what that perfect game looks like. Are they running through combat really quickly like this? Are they taking their time and going over options and having tactical discussions with each other? Like what does that look like in your head? And then work backwards from that so that you're building mechanics that support that vision.
Yeah, that's really smart. And like figuring out how to, okay, I want tactical, sweet, everybody's doing their own thing, and like it's a whole, you know, set piece of Rube Goldberg machine is how I envision this to go, but I don't want it to take too long on your turns. Like, okay, so then you could have something like, all right, initiative is 2 turns maximum. Like you now have emphasis on those moments, and you are going to focus on, okay, we only have this much time to either win or lose. And like, all right, can you make that work to give you both sides of that? But yeah, trying to figure out what you want and how to build it, which is the fun part of building games, I think.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add to that, or?
No, I feel like that's good. Good luck with building your game. I know it's really tough work, but it's really enjoyable.
Agreed and agreed. Pika, let us know if that answered your question and if you have any follow-ups. They also mentioned it's actually going to use cards for the players to do actions. So yeah, it's pretty combat-based. So like, now I'm curious, like playing cards, like kind of like Deadlands, where it's like whoever...
deck of cards or specific card combat moves, like...
Right. Like it's a unique deck, and everybody has like unique cards that they play, or yeah, like a deck of cards where, like saying like Deadlands, where it's like whoever has the strongest poker hand gets to do specific things, and in that order. Pika says it did, so yay! I'm glad I answered the question.
Yay!
Let me copy this down. Another new question. Thank you for that. But okay. They mentioned playing cards like Malifaux. So the deck is 52 cards, and then each suit is either healing, defending, attacking, etc. Interesting. I have friends that played Malifaux, but I've never played it. I didn't know that it actually used cards like that. That's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
That's pretty interesting. Okay, then we'll move on to Meredith D's question of completely separate topics. When looking at new systems or tabletop RPGs, any red flags you look for?
Any red flags that I look for specifically?
Yeah.
How the book is organized. If I'm looking at like a physical book,
my gosh.
like how the book is organized is the biggest thing for me. Like I need to know where tables are, where information is. I need to know like I want a well organized game master book, and that is probably my number one big thing that I'm looking for. Poor organization, not having an appendix.
Ooh,
I went off on this on a review that I just did on the channel about a module that did not have an appendix, and it made me insane. Not having an appendix that has like tables and things in it, like tells me instead that they've haphazardly put the tables into the book, which is not what I prefer. I prefer to have everything located in one place so that I can flip to it easily. Those are the big ones for me. Like I really, really care about how the book is organized.
That, I think, once I've gotten into it, that's incredibly important. That's one that I have to at least commit enough to actually start reading the book to realize. I'll try and crack open a book and read some stuff and see how segmented lore and mechanics are from each other, and also how much time I feel like the book is wasting in its word count when I'm trying to learn it. So like going through an opening and seeing something that is really just paragraphs about the office setting of this
Mm-hmm.
company that the players work at. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool, but like that's not the section I turned to. The section is called combat, and like this is not what I wanted. Um, this is not informing me of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer the usually the shortest distance between 2 points. Like I need to know something. I got the ADD. Like you gotta keep me. Please tell me the thing so I can move to the next thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, being able, can I just read it? Is a big part of it. Like looking through those things where I like how some things will be set up where it is like a spell that is a paragraph of flavor text, paragraph of mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And like I like when things are mixed, but I also like when they are clearly separated. What I don't like is when you notice that sometimes it's mixed, sometimes it's together. Not that there are any popular spells in any RPGs that do this that we've all played, but that there will be flavor text that has literally key wording for mechanics of a spell that's
Mm-hmm.
buried between like 8 different sentences. And then you wouldn't
Oh yeah.
know unless you read the whole freaking thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
that,
know exactly what you're talking about.
that up a gosh darn wall. It drives me. I can't. Uh, yeah, so like the accessibility. I'll also look at how thick the core rulebook is. Like, how much time are you expecting me to put into this to
Mm-hmm.
understand your game? So, like something like Mothership, Cairn, are fairly small core rulebooks. Like, you can understand them fairly quickly. Fate
Mm-hmm.
is one where it's like the base rules are very simple. The core rulebook is a bit thicker because it has so much information in it outside of just here's what you need to know. But like, here's all the
Mm-hmm.
fun things that you can do now that you know that. Where like,
Mm-hmm.
something like a Pathfinder rulebook is super thick, but it's like, okay, it's very important on the organization that you brought up. It's like, well, it's thick because there's 30 classes and each of them take up 4 pages. You're
Mm-hmm.
not reading through cover to cover. You're going, I think monk sounds cool. These are the only 4 pages I care about now.
Yep.
But if you don't have that organization, then you won't know that. If it's all just mixed
Yeah.
together.
You won't know that. It'll just be a huge mess. Yep.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Yeah. Talk saying VTM manual was a mess in system, but constantly flipping through the manual. I love VTM. I can't disagree with that.
No.
VTM
No.
was one that I thought was more interesting a lot of times to read with its mix of like flavor and mechanics, and that they are clearly like woven together, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped with reading it. It did not help when it would reference a page number that didn't exist in that book. Like, it ends at 203. 235 is not a page you have. I'm never going to find this information.
Yep.
So yeah, that's I guess some of mine. I feel honestly the another red flag that is outside of the book itself, but like the game, is how easily can someone explain it to me? Like, especially if I am like at a convention and I'm like talking to a
Mm-hmm.
developer, and they can be like, here's how it works. And I can understand it and think of ways to use it, or be there for like 5 minutes. They're still explaining how like the first turn of combat goes. And I'm like, I don't want to play this game. Like,
No.
Like, maybe it's good, but like, it sounds like this is how long things are going to take. And like, everything's going to take that long, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, have simple concepts, clear wording are also things that I find as very, very red flaggy of like, again, my attention is trying to get pulled away. Like, you got to do something to hold
Constantly.
it. Mm-hmm.
Constantly. Yeah. I need something that's going to grip it.
Alan Carnegie saying, I always loved the Shadowrun books because a lot of them had in-universe comments, such conversations about the content from in-universe characters. That's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
That's one that someone tried to explain to me, and I was like, huh? I think it's better than the explanation I got, which is also a thing of like, maybe someone just explained it poorly is always an option of. And I feel like also all of these things are not red flags that, at least for me, that stop me immediately. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it doesn't have an appendix, I'll never touch it. Like, you know what?
No. Yeah.
Maybe it's okay.
Yeah, it could still be fine.
Yeah. It's more of a how many of these things are happening. That is the issue.
Yeah. Like, I am looking strongly at the editing, which is one of the first things that I'm looking at when I'm looking at like a new book. Like, just was this well edited? Because that's going to make my life so much easier this down the road on every front.
Yeah. Editing is so important. If you
It really is.
For, Pika making a book, everybody who's writing stuff, if it's whether it is a script, it is a game, it doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, editing, both you as the writer editing and a separate third party editing. I personally feel like editing is as important as the writing process. Like,
yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I don't think I've ever personally read anything that wasn't edited by a third person. That was like, or something that wasn't edited by a third person that was worth reading. Like, if you don't do that, there's people will see things in your work that is very important to be shown that you will not see. And that is okay. That is part of like the writing process. Is you are never seeing the thing in front of you. You are seeing what you want it to be. You are seeing what drafts it went through. You are seeing what it was mixed with something new. You are thinking about that this is a great reference to this other thing that you forgot got removed. So now this is just a weird sentence that doesn't tie to anything.
Just hanging out. Yep.
Yeah. So, like, please, it is as important as the writing process itself.
Yes. And it is obvious when you do not.
Yes.
It is very, very obvious when you do not have an external editor. Like, it leaves thumbprints all over the work.
Yeah.
Get an external editor.
Yeah. That is one that, if there is one single red flag out of like, it is like, horribly sexist in its writing or something, that is oh no, I am not going, this is a red flag that will stop me, because at exactly what you said, the fingerprints of it will be all over. If you notice it here, you will continue to notice it in how things are explained in combat, in explanation, in where tables are aligned, in all these different things. It will resonate throughout the whole thing. Just like good editing will resonate positively throughout the whole thing.
Yes, precisely.
Okay, that's my editing rant.
Yeah, I feel you. Right there with you, brother.
All right, let's know if that answers your question. If not, we'll try again. And thanks for asking, Meredith. Meredith says thanks, so I think that's it. Miss Harmony had a question of, are there any deeply psychological RPGs that you could recommend, like something that leans heavy into sanity mechanics?
Deeply psychological. I mean, you could set something up like that in Mothership, but I'm not really familiar with deeply psychological like systems themselves. I've definitely played in games that had that, but that was brought to it by the GM as opposed to something intrinsic to the system itself.
Yeah, I feel the same way. That Deep's bringing up Call of Cthulhu leans heavily on sanity, and yeah, it does.
Mhm.
But I don't think it as a system is necessarily more mechanically psychological than like a Mothership game.
Mhm.
Which also has some sanity, but like is a much lighter system. It doesn't lean as much on those aspects. I I if anybody in chat has suggestions, that would be awesome because I agree. I feel like what makes a game psychological is what's brought into it. The mechanics
Mhm.
help. I stand by something like Pathfinder or D&D is incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to do a lot of horror or psychological situations because it's built as a power fantasy.
Mhm.
uh and like is combat related and is all these things of like expectations of it versus other systems that you can play with those elements of psychology and discomfort and perception and all these different things. But that's
Yeah,
a go ahead.
I was going to say Call of Cthulhu was a great suggestion. Like that's probably the best that I could think of.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a fun game. I do like
It
Call
is
of
a really
Cthulhu.
fun game. Yeah.
Yeah,
So many games.
I know so many good ones. It's like it's a whole genre or a whole
It's
hobby.
like we live in the golden age of RPGs too,
Yeah.
which, we might as well be living in the golden age of something.
Mm. Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right about that.
I'll take RPGs. I'll take it.
Yeah. Uh, DJT mentioning Delta Green, maybe. I have heard really good things about Delta Green.
I am also in a public access game right now, which is really, really
Okay.
good, and is leaning on. So public access it's based on the same mechanics as Brindlewood Bay, if I'm not mistaken.
I love
And
Brindlewood Bay.
yeah, and public access is just very cool. So the idea is you're kind of these kids from, or at least you were kids who grew up in the 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, and there was a public access television show that aired when you were children that you all remember, but nobody else does. And so you've all come together in this small town in New Mexico to try and solve the mystery of these mysterious tapes that you all remember from your childhood that no one else remembers. And it's just it's very cool, like mystery creation, psychological, like, yeah, I recommend public access a lot.
That, man, all I had to hear was that it was based on Brindlewood Bay because I think that
Yeah.
is, like, hands down, I think an actual good powered by the apocalypse engine use. It's so good.
Hmm.
I would love to play another game with that style of system. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, or maybe you can run public access on the game that we do, or maybe I'll learn it and run
Yeah,
it. Who knows?
we'll
Um,
see.
uh, Mentioning Delta Green reminded me because a friend that talks about Delta Green a lot. Deeply psychological is the Zone because that is a play to lose RPG where you are going into.
Ooh.
If you've ever read or watched Annihilation, it's heavily based on like that kind of thing where there's this weird place on Earth that like weird stuff started to happen, and now you have to go in to discover what's going on, and you build out the map as like a bunch of cards that are face down. Uh, it's called the Zone. Talk talk. Actually, let me make sure. I'm fairly certain. Hang on. The Zone RPG. Yes, it is the Zone. Um, you play cards and you put them in a circle, like in a spiral going down. And each card is a location, and you flip it over. And it's mostly just the name of the location with like a little bit of detail. And you're building why it's there, why this is now where you've gone to. So, like, we did one where it was like we went into a cave, and then the next thing was like an office building or something. And it was like, okay, how do we connect these? And like, you can do some connective tissue, like you get out of the cave and do this. But we were like, no, we find an underground lab with office
That's
building.
awesome.
Yeah, like stuff like that where you can really, really have fun with that. And for each character, they have a card, and you put those on the last couple of on like some of the cards going towards the center of the spiral. And when you flip that card with a player card on it, whoever player card that is means you're dying in this location. How are you going to die? And so, like, and you know that as you flip it. So it's like when you start the narrative, you can start thinking about like, okay, well, how is this going to connect to other things? And how am I not going to make it out of here? And there's a few things you can do of like sacrificing yourself so someone else dies instead. But generally it is when you get to the last one, there's one person alive, and the characters, the players that have died already get to vote on what happens to that last character.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
If they live, they die, they get stuck here, they whatever. So that one is pretty psychological. And a big part of that, but that's also a thing you bring because the game itself is built to be a very open-ended thing with like some prompts. So even though it is psychological, it's not like mechanically dealing with like sanity.
That one sounds fun.
It's really fun. I had a good time. I had a good freaking time playing it. DJT, yeah, kind of like Stalker, where you have that like section that's weird and stuff's happening. I think that's different in the game. I think in the games it's like post-apocalyptic, but in the novel and I think in the movie, it's like very much an area that's weird. And also in the novel, it's because it's like aliens, which is really I do really like the plot of that, where it's like aliens that are so advanced that like they've left their litter behind when they were visiting Earth, like recently, and like even their litter is so like bizarre to us, it is warping like reality, and like that's what's causing
great.
things that we're like we don't even know what's happening. Super cool.
That's great. I love that. I love very alien aliens.
Right? Like that's the thing I really love about extra dimensional stuff is they tend to play more with like, well, yeah, but like it doesn't have to listen to physics because it's from a place where that's not the rules. And so yeah, alien stuff that you can get that wacky with it.
Love it. Love it.
So good. I want my mind bent is what I want.
Yep.
The Talk say, I think the quote from the the zone is tabletop story game of surreal horror. Mutate your friends, play to lose, and have a spooky time in the dark. Yep. That's very accurate. Yeah. It was a spooky time in the dark. And people did get mutated. It was fun. Pans plays, very simple question. Thoughts on grids versus hex systems?
Wow. I am literally working on a video right now about doing hex crawls.
Yeah.
I love hex crawls. I absolutely adore them. And I don't know. I know they've fallen out of fashion in like general gaming. And I want to bring them back into fashion again. But you're talking about for combat itself. Now, I have been persuaded that hexes are a good system to use for combat as well. I have been using a grid for so long that I just still use the grid. Like I've been playing on a grid since I don't know, 2000, something like that, like some amount of time. And I just got used to a grid. I have been persuaded that a hex map for combat is also a good way to run combat. I tend to agree that it does work as well, but I'm basic. I like my grid. I like my simple grid, but I do love hex crawls. I love hex maps. For me, a hex is like 6 miles. That's just how it is in my brain.
I guess I first played on grids and then I think it's Savage Worlds that runs on Hex instead of Grid, and was like, oh, this is better. Like, I like that you have you don't have the diagonal rule of
hmm
oh, well, the first one's 5 feet and the second one's 10 feet because technically you're moving more at an angle
hmm
because of the way a grid works, but a hex doesn't work that way. So every
hmm
space is the same distance from each other. Um, and that's easier math, which means I like it. So I like it's not a red flag one way or another, but I absolutely do prefer hexes. Also, you can only get surrounded on 6 sides in a hex. You can get surrounded on 8 sides in a grid. So for
Ooh.
safety reasons, you should pick hex. And TS Agent saying hex crawls are coming back. Forbidden Lands, Land of Eam,
Land of
Neverland.
Eam. Yeah, Land of Eam
Oh,
is
okay.
amazing. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no, you're fine. Mystic, Bastion Land, and Dolmenwood, etc. Cool. I guess those are all. Are you played Land of Eam?
I was no, but I was literally just talking to somebody about Land of Eam last night when I was going on about the hex crawls, and they were like, "You need to play Land of Eam." Apparently, it is very, very good,
What?
and it has a beautiful hex map.
Ooh. What do you consider? Like, what is the definition of a hex crawl?
So to me, a hex crawl is a campaign that is set up based on exploration, where you as the GM have a hex map that is keyed with all of the things that are in the world, and your players are creating their own map. So they have a blank hex map, and they go out and start exploring all these different hexes and figuring out what's in them and building out the world. So that to me is a hex crawl. At
Okay.
least that's how I did them back in the day.
I mean, that sounds fun because I like games like Betrayal: A House on the Hill, where like you build it as you go and like it
hmm
changes, and then it's like, oh, okay, well now we know if we go back this way, this is in the way, and building that as a world map
Yes.
actually sounds very fun.
Yes, it
Which
is. I think it's a lot of fun.
I haven't done that, and that seems dumb. I should do that. That seems like a really good
It's
way to build it, especially for
yeah,
someone who
it's
doesn't like making maps, so they could just make themselves.
I will happily make all of your maps for you. Just ask. Like you look, just give me an excuse to make a map, man.
I'm
But
glad.
yeah, building out a yeah, you should definitely do a hex crawl at some point. Maybe that's what I'll run for you.
All right, so a Iron Sworn hex crawl or a public access hex crawl. Got it. I mean, I'll play either one. I'm game.
You are.
I believe that is all the questions, unless I missed one. So if I did, tell me. But if not, I think that's a good spot to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Skirtle Squad is saying map making TTRPG or RPG help desk episode. Honestly, that would be fun. Because I would learn a lot. Having someone on that likes making maps.
Anytime you want to just talk about map making, I am absolutely down. It is
Perfect.
one of my favorite things to do. I love to do it.
Okay.
Love to encourage people to do it.
Next, we got our topic for next time you're on. Is we're just going to talk about map making.
Awesome. Awesome.
Which means you're going to talk about map making, and I'm going to listen and then interject with like a couple questions because I've done one stream of like actively making a map, and just the way doing it of going, here's 3 different ways that people say you should make maps. Let's try all of them and then mush them together and see how our map looks. And it actually made a really fun map.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. All right. Well then, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It was a good time.
It was my pleasure.
Give a shout out to yourself on where people can check you out to do all the cool stuff you do.
Oh yeah, I am Astral Marmot pretty much everywhere on the internet. You can find me on YouTube at Astral Marmot. I am the ADHDM on there, and should have a video coming out first Wednesday of the month. So you can look forward to that and listening to me go on about how great hex crawls are.
Which is the most important thing is how good hex. Because as we learned today, if you remember one thing, it's not communicate with your players. It's never too late to ask questions. It's hexes because they're safer than squares.
Hexagons are bestagons.
Freaking roasted. That was great. Take care, Jessa. Thank you everybody for coming. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you.